What's a company's secret you can share now that you don't work there? Story 1. I worked at Olive Garden in the mid-90s while I was in college. Back then, they had the all-you-can-eat soup, salad and breadsticks lunch special for like $4.25 plus tax. Working lunch shift sucked. You would get probably 2 or 3 tables, and there was a 99% chance that all of your tables were 2 ladies getting this lunch special with water during their lunch break. After about a year, several of our best servers were mysteriously fired. It turns out, they were running a scam where they used the same receipt over and over again when these ladies paid for their meal with cash. Since we could get those 3 items ourselves from the back without ringing them into the system, these servers were just pocketing the cash for the entire meal. So instead of making like $5 to $8 in tips during a lunch shift like the rest of us dumb schmucks, they would make an extra $20 or so by stealing from the company. Story 2. This isn't a company secret, but I worked part-time at a Domino's franchise in college. The owner was, at first glance, a short-tempered, critical penny pincher who did everything he could to save business money, right down to watching over your shoulder to make sure you didn't put too much cheese on a pizza. Cheese is called white gold in the pizza industry, even back in 2002, but after working for him for a while, you realized why he was so specific about the margins. Twice yearly, he would send out generous bonuses, in the form of money orders made out to his employees from his own personal savings account, to the college students working for him. The checks/money orders contained the memo line, "Keep learning." The amount of the money orders would be directly correlated to the profit margins of the stores he owned. The dude did legit profit sharing. After I graduated, I heard a rumor that he was trying to start up a small education grant trust that would benefit applicants of the Farmer School of Business at Miami University, but I don't think anything ever came of it. This owner also played favorites when hiring. Every single one of his managers was a former employee. 3 of the 4 managers at his stores when I worked there had graduated from my college with business degrees. All 4 of them had a small portion of their education paid for by Marvin Covington. Marvin Covington, Oxford, Ohio Domino's owner from Vevey, Indiana, died in 2017. That dude knew how to do business, and do it right. It would be a very sweet idea if you guys could band together to establish some sort of bursary for the school in his memory. Dude was clearly very passionate about education, and in this day and age it's impossible to find someone in management who actually cares about their staff enough to profit share. If the staff are largely business grads, surely some of them have managed to make enough money in their careers that this could be possible. It would be a great way to honor his memory. Story 3. I worked at a comic book store that offered a service where you paid a small premium to have rare comics to have them graded at CGC. A few months later we had many customers coming in to check the status of their comics. We contacted the owner to see what was going on, and he would always claim that there was some distribution problem. Fast forward a few months, we found out he was taking customers' graded copies and selling them online while trying to return back issue versions of their original comics. How did this dude think that comic collectors who were sending in comics to be graded wouldn't recognize they weren't receiving their original comic back? LOL. I'm sure a few newer to the hobby wouldn't be the wiser, but man. That's what we all said. My friend and I were managers and had absolutely no idea this was happening. It was a smaller town comic shop and all the customers sending in comics to be graded were good friends of ours. But the plot gets thicker. Turns out his wife was signed for the business, so the owner wasn't really the owner. We called her and explained what was happening. She was in tears. She came to shop to meet the wronged customers and she took graded comics from the owner's collection and let the customers pick out comics equal to the value of their graded comics in return for the mishap. Fast forward a few months, she closed the store, gave us our paychecks and even some "I'm sorry" money. It turns out the guy was doing all kinds of other shady shit. She divorced him, and I'm like 99% sure he went to jail for fraud. He's also banned from CGC and all of the licensed big comic cons, LOL. So don't worry, he lost that battle. Story 4. I don't think it's a bad secret at all. But back in college, I delivered pizzas for Papa John's. The store manager must have had an undiagnosed case of OCD or germophobia or something. Because every night, he would assign someone to do the cleaning duties, mopping floors, double-checking expiration dates/throwing away expired stuff, etc. And every night, he would absolutely lose his temper and berate whoever was doing the cleaning. They were going too fast, they weren't cleaning everything, whatever. After that, he'd always take over the cleaning himself. He was amazingly picky about the cleanliness and food quality. Expiration date is 3 days from now. Fuck that, I'll order more. Throw that shit away, we're not serving it. He would also go out of pocket to buy special cleaning products, because that worthless bullshit that corporate wants us to use doesn't get the job done. He also went out of pocket to hire some kind of specialist to clean out the fountain drink dispenser, ice machine, and all that stuff. The machine needs to always be as close to brand new as possible. One standout moment for me was when he reduced a cashier to tears by hollering, "Would you eat off this floor?" No? Then it's not clean enough. He wasn't telling her to eat off the floor. He was just making a point. After we'd close the store, he'd kick all of us out, lock up behind us and stay until something like 2 a.m. cleaning the place. You always knew when he closed because you could smell the chemical scent still lingering in the air. The end result of this was the store, the food, the equipment and the facilities were always in squeaky clean condition. Customers, somehow, picked up on what a perfectionist the store manager was and bought from us all the time. Because there's a lot of peace of mind that goes in knowing your food was cooked by someone willing to throw ingredients away before the expiration date, stay in the store until God knows when cleaning everything, etc. The true irony was how much the boss hated himself because he didn't think he was doing a good enough job to run a clean restaurant with fresh ingredients. It didn't matter how many compliments he got from customers or how many service industry veterans said they'd never worked in a place as obsessive about freshness and cleanliness as his Papa John's store, he was convinced his store was still a filthy barn. Eventually, he got promoted to some kind of higher-level corporate position, district manager, that required him to visit other stores and make sure they were all up to spec. The end result of that was a lot of stores in this area all improved seemingly overnight. Story 5. The vehicle modification shop at Chillicothe Correctional Institution in Chillicothe, Ohio dumps waste coolant from the machine shop into a storm drain that empties directly into the Scioto River, because the chemical disposal tank is a 55-gallon drum in the paint shop, and that's much too small. They can't throw me into solitary confinement for complaining anymore. Edit, this happens about once a year, when the machine's coolant reservoirs are emptied and the coolant replaced. It's not on a schedule, it's one of those things that you do when work is slow. Each machine holds 15 to 20 gallons, and usually you just add more as it evaporates, but eventually it gets nasty and needs to be replaced. It's supposed to go in a waste tote to be disposed of safely, which is what every non-government machine shop does. Being able to prove this is being done would require knowing when they're going to do this, and that's a decision that's often made spur of the moment. Hey, work is slow, let's have a cleanup day. There aren't any phones in the machine shop either. Edit 2. A container to store the waste properly costs $200. Why waste taxpayer money when we can just poison the taxpayers instead? Story 6. I worked at a Petco in Alaska. Apparently brown/black mice are not allowed up here. Only white mice. We got a shipment of a bunch of black/brown mice and had to take them to the vet to be killed. Also, the animals are literally shipped in on a UPS truck and delivered in packages. I would open a package and it would be full of fish or mice or snakes. You never knew what was coming, it was wild. Luckily my shift manager was a really good person. She tried her best to help any sick animal and was super diligent about keeping the cages really clean. She would stay after hours to care for the sick animal in the back and double down on cleaning. When upper management came, they didn't give a shit how clean anything was. They would yell at us to get more customers to sign up for pet rewards. If I didn't pester every single person checking out, they would get angry and give me point deductions. I have no idea what the deductions even did. One of the upper managers watched me for like 3 hours when I was at the register. He said I wasn't pushy enough on getting people to donate/sign up for shit. Bitch, I will ask once and if they say no I am not asking again. That shit is annoying AF. He also got mad at me when I didn't clean the bird cage fast enough. It took time away from the register. I'm sorry, I don't want our birds to stand in their own shit for hours, so yeah I'ma take my time to scrub that shit clean. Also, don't buy fish from Petco. Pretty much every shipment that came in they were all infected with ICK. Basically half our tanks were in quarantine. We had several customers come back saying we killed their entire fish tank because of a fish we sold them. Fuck Petco. Story 7. I used to work at a 600+ room Hyatt. After 11 o'clock, one front desk person, 1 to 2 housekeepers, 1 phone operator, 1 cop every night in case drunk people would cause a scene or bums would sneak in. I used to be security 3 to 11 o'clock before getting switched to the front desk. I used to walk through the whole hotel, all 30 floors, and make sure bums didn't sneak in to sleep in the hallways and feast on old banquet food, or shoot up in the parking garage stairs. I would walk around with the housekeeping manager, he became a good friend, and shoot the shit because I didn't actually have anything I needed to do. I used to see all the fucked up and nasty shit people would to the hotel rooms. Manager, my friend, used to get called for all the weird stuff and I would just go with him to hang out and we could joke about it and judge people being weirdos. Pro tip, if a hotel has carpet, don't touch it with your bare feet. The carpet might get cleaned twice a year but is vacuumed every stay. But you have no idea how many people spill food, every drink imaginable, piss, vomit, everything. They have a special ozone machine that fully deodorizes everything in the room, basically fumigating it. Then a little spray on the carpet and good as new. It is crazy, and a little disturbing, how well those things work. Pro tip 2, security at a big hotel was definitely the cushiest job I have ever had. I had free reign and master keys of the entire hotel and all convention/banquet areas. All I had to do was patrol, which entailed me once or twice a night walking by every room in the hotel, making sure all the doors were locked by the end of the night. There were a shitload of doors and back hallways, housekeeping floor, 2 engineering floors, 2 kitchens, and like 15 to 20 convention/banquet areas. But this basically gave me 8 hours a day where I didn't have to be anywhere at any specific time. I just wandered aimlessly around the hotel and hung out with people from all the different departments. I made friends with all the banquet manager girls, because I would get called to unlock banquet rooms that the setup team left locked and would help them get all the lights on and make sure nobody was sleeping in there. But I got hooked up with all the banquet foods, there were always extras. So many different snacks, wedding food, bagels, breakfast tacos, breakfast sandwiches, so many cookies and little desserts. After work everyone would meet up at the bar down the street and get wasted and hang out. It was awesome. Became friends with everyone at the front desk and eventually got moved over there because I thought I wanted to get into hotel management. Honestly, housekeeping manager is the way to get into hotel management, front office just gets you yelled at by angry business travelers. I would never go back and work in a hotel now. But if you are in your early 20s or in college, highly recommended. Not sure if anyone will even read this, but this is basically just me unlocking forgotten memories from 2009. Story 8. I worked in insurance billing at night as a side job while still going to school as a physician. I had the hard job of fighting insurance for things like a 4-ounce bottle of betadine 5% for $300 that your insurance doesn't want to pay for, or life-saving services that keep people alive like transplants, cardiac surgeries, etc. Sometimes, I would be fighting for months on these things and they would exhaust me and it would get so personal. I looked at their chart, their story, their history and visits. And over the years, I have written off or just erased several millions of dollars in medical bills just because I didn't have the heart to let it fall back on people. Tiny 3-day-old babies who needed new hearts, grandma who was only 50 who needed a new kidney, papa who needed a new liver, and new medical treatment for his condition, twin baby girls who needed surgery while mom was pregnant to save them both. A husband who needed brain surgery, his wife was pregnant. A firefighter needing cancer treatment. I just paid it all. Silently at night. All they received was a statement in the mail that things have been covered and medication/services are taken care of, like no balance was owed to the hospital, etc. But it was me. I just wrote it off. We used donations, funding, and certain surgeries had special services that could connect into. Everything got paid, it just never fell back on the patient. I never met a single one of them. I just hope it helped. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe for future videos just like this.